Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everything in between. This is Amayirot Akago, and I'd like to wish you all a very happy new year. I hope you all managed to live through the end-of-year celebrations. And it's been a little while since the last part of the Deathgate LP. It's mostly because I was busy with the Spud review, and after that had to reinstall my entire computer because I obtained a new SSD hard drive. But anyway, last time we were in Prian, trying to unite the different races to open the Citadel, which we did. And in there we of course found the next piece of the World Seal, along with a new home for the Mensch races to live in, with the help of the Titans created by the Sartan long ago. But then we went back to Lord Zar, and he was kind of like, well, that's nice and all, but we're going to have to tear that place down and kill everyone there, just so you know. So yeah, he's not the nicest of people, it seems. Oh, and we got a little memento from Zifnab, this little stone that we're supposed to use if we ever run into something unspeakably evil. So we'll just have to wonder what he was talking about there. But anyway, our next destination awaits in the form of the realm of Stone Abarrach. So let us go there. Your ship flies from the Deathgate into a river of lava. Walls of dark rock enclose you in a giant cavern so large that it actually houses a city carved from the stone. You dock the ship a small distance away. Well, it's a good thing the ship is apparently lava-proof. This is pretty inhospitable looking compared to where we've been so far. Your ship floats in a river of lava alongside a stone embankment. In the distance, you see a dark city. Starting off creepy. I like it. Here, a hulking figure shuffles from a dried-up pond to a field, long dead. Behind him, a cave opens into the cavern wall. Beyond the lava river, you see a city in the distance. Oh. A dead worker? The hulking corpse just stares at you.
Greetings. Who are you?
Who? Name Jethro.
You rang.
What is this place?
What? Place? Home. What are you doing? We water plants.
Oh my god, Haplo, you condescending bastard.
Would you accompany me?
The corpse shuffles over beside you and looks at you expectantly. Oh. Well, he's kind of slow-witted, but at least he's friendly.
That's a nice bucket. Would you give it to me?
The corpse looks at the bucket for a moment and then silently hands it to you. I love my bucket. Well, he probably doesn't need to come along with me just yet, so...
See you later, Mr. Excitement.
Oh, he goes right back to work anyway. So, yeah. Big undead guy. That's creepy. You're surrounded by the stone buildings of the deserted town, including a clock tower to the east and an elegant residence to the north. The clock's circular face has 16 marks around the edge. The single hand points to just before the second mark. Interesting. The statue wears a crown and holds a scepter. With the haze in the air, you can't discern more from this distance. Let's see what's in here. Another dead guy.
How may I be of assistance, sir?
The decaying butler attempts to draw himself up, but the weight of the chain around his waist keeps him slumped over. Well, he's a bit more talkative than the other guy we met.
Who are you?
My name is Aramas. I serve Balthazar, the master of the house. His work is very important and cannot be disturbed, so he retains me and a few other servants to handle the domestic work.
Who else does Balthazar retain to serve him?
In addition to myself, Balthazar employs a nanny who cares for the master's young children, and a housekeeper who does the cooking as well.
There's a housekeeper? Isn't it kind of dirty around here? I'd say this housekeeper is slacking off.
The house is a little dusty, but I'm sure she'll get on the job soon.
Who is Balthazar?
Balthazar is the personal necromancer to the king of Khan Telest. He's one of the most celebrated sorcerers in the city.
What important work is he doing?
He does what all necromancers do. He resurrects and sustains the dead so that they can serve the living. But he also spends much of his time researching new magic arts. It's not a very popular activity among other necromancers. In fact, it used to be a crime. But as my master was mentor to most of the others, and because he is a man of power and influence, his research isn't questioned. Not that Balthazar would care in any case.
Necromancy. Lovely.
What magic arts is he researching?
What do I look like? A necromancer? I'm just his personal servant. I don't pry into his work. It could be hazardous to my health.
What health?
Actually, you look like a corpse. I doubt your health could deteriorate much more.
There's no need to be rude.
Why can't he be disturbed?
An interruption at the wrong time could have disastrous results. His old butler interrupted him once. My first job was to scrape his entrails off the walls.
Lovely.
Is that why that door is locked?
Yes, he takes his breaks at certain times, and only then is it safe to enter. Soon it will be time for his tea. I'm waiting for the housekeeper to bring it.
Enough about your employer.
As you wish.
Oh, God. So many dialogues.
What's behind that door?
That's my master's study, wherein he works his magic and researches the mystic arts. It is off limits to everyone, including his children, especially his children. The volatile nature of his work makes even the briefest visit potentially fatal.
Why do you have a key chained around your waist?
This is the key to the study door. My master requires his privacy. I only open the door to give him his meals and when he breaks for tea. Right now, I am waiting for the housekeeper to give me the tea tray. The master will be expecting it soon.
Hint, hint.
Do you think you could open the door for me? The master is expecting my visit.
The master isn't expecting anyone today. And even if he was, he would leave his study to speak with you. He doesn't allow anyone inside, except myself.
Could you go in and give him a message for me?
I can only enter at predetermined times when it's safe to do so. I cannot enter simply to give a message to him.
When exactly do you expect the housekeeper to bring you the tea?
Oh, she should be along any time now.
Why don't you let me carry that key? It looks a little heavy for you.
It's strange. Lately, this key has seemed heavier than ever. But it is my duty to hold it for my master. I shall never let it out of my possession while I live.
Well, you probably won't have to carry it around anymore then.
But you're dead, so give me the key.
I'm not dead, just a little confused. I did have a bad fight with the plague some time ago, but I pulled through. I'm here, aren't I? Though since then everything has seemed somewhat fuzzy.
Is there any other way into the study?
There is a window, but it's very high off the ground. Too dangerous to enter or exit. The master made the study as inaccessible as possible. He doesn't want to be disturbed.
Perhaps we should talk about something else.
As you wish.
Why are you standing around? Aren't you dead?
Dead? Dead tired, maybe. I don't get enough of rest. Lately, even the act of standing upright has become difficult. I need a vacation.
Where is everyone?
Where is who? Whom did you expect to find? I believe you'll find the children upstairs with the nanny, and the master hard at work in his study.
What is this place?
Well, this is the city of Telestia, one of the oldest and grandest cities in Abarrach, aside from the city.
Oh.
And we're very proud of our accomplishments. Telestia was built by the dwarves for the other mensch races when they were all still alive. The dwarves themselves lived in caves not too far from here.
Weird. Sound just cut out for a second.
Some of the dwarves' artistry remains throughout the city. For example, the iron statue in the clock tower is ancient. It is the exact likeness of Clytus the first in the line of dynasts who have ruled over Abarrach. The detail is excellent. Even the royal scepter, still carried by Clytus XIV, is a perfect replica of the original. They say that the statue was made by Clytus I's personal dwarf slave after the dwarf went mad. The madness obviously didn't affect his artistic talent, though.
Uh-huh.
What happened to the other races?
The weaker races died off shortly after they were transplanted to this world. They didn't have strong enough magic to survive the harsh environment of Abarrach.
Where exactly did the dwarves live?
I believe they once lived in caves just outside of the city. I can't be certain, however, that it isn't simply a legend. The region hasn't been explored for a long time.
These dialogues go on forever already, and he has to speak so damn slowly.
Where is Karn Necros?
It's at the core of the world. I've never been there. In fact, no one in this Karn has. We've never traveled outside of the city. We've never had to.
Does the dynast rule this city?
Not really. We've never even seen him. Our king has ruled Telestia for ages. The dynast only rules here on paper.
Is this scepter anything special?
Of course. It is the scepter of rulership. It gives incredible magic power to he who wields it. The original dynast, Clytus I, created the scepter, and his line has used it to secure their leadership ever since. No one would dare oppose a dynast who has control of the scepter.
Why did Clytus' slave go mad?
The dwarf was the first experiment in necromancy. Some say that the art wasn't perfected when Clytus I brought his slave back to life, and that insanity was the result. Afterward, Clytus banished the slave back to the ancestral dwarven lair to sit in solitude forever. This didn't affect the dwarf's devotion to his lord, however. When a body is resurrected, it learns very little, and it usually reverts to doing whatever it did during life. The dwarf continued to worship Clytus I. He even carved the statue in the clock tower to honor him. Few believe that Clytus was deserving of such an honor, but even fewer will admit that in public. Clytus XIV reveres his ancestor, and no one speaks ill of either of them without fear of being turned to dust.
Enough about this place.
As you wish.
You're as interesting as a corpse. This conversation is over.
As you wish.
So, we got a power-mad dictator from a long line of power-mad dictators. And people, dead people, walking the lands. Nice place. Yeah, obviously can't go in there. Need the butlers.
The smallest people made their home in caves and caverns all their own. They'll only come outside to play when all the arrows point the way. Which way, you ask? Where are they found? Just out of sight under the ground. Don't look too close, they'll run away unless the arrows point the way.
Yeah, as I was saying, we need the butler's key to go through those doors. And here we have the nanny. The dead nanny ignores you, her decayed brain totally engrossed in the task of reading aloud from the children's book.
Hey, Grandma, over here!
When all the arrows point
No reaction.
which way,
Give me
you
that book.
ask?
Maybe
Where
if
are
you
they
didn't have your
found?
nose in it, you'd notice that I'm trying to speak to you.
Just out of sight.
The dead nanny ignores you and continues to read, so you decide to remove the book yourself. Slide the book out of the dead nanny's wrinkled hands. She doesn't resist, but no sooner is the book gone than she stops speaking, her eyes go blank, and she sits motionless. Oh, we took away her one true purpose in life. Children's book. The little ones. The smallest people made their home in caves and caverns all their own. Yeah, that's what she was just reading. Arrows point the way. The day. Get that snake! 4 in 1. Leave the book open to the right. 4 in 1. I remember that's part of a puzzle later. Tea set. It's a toy that belonged to the previous occupant of the nursery. Wherever the occupant is gone by now, no one knows. Yeah. Empty and gloomy in here.
Who are you?
I'm the nanny of this family. I take care of the children while the master does his research. In fact, I should be reading to the children right now as they go to sleep. Have you seen my book?
Why do you read the same rhyme over and over?
I read until the children have gone to sleep. I must read now. Where is my book? I can't find my book.
Who do you read to?
To the children. Aren't they precious? I've taken care of children most of my life. I love to read to them. I should be reading to them now.
These undead people are kind of single-minded.
Would you accompany me? I know where your book is.
You know where my book is? Please take me to it. I must read to the children. They can't go to sleep without their rhymes. They need me, you see.
Not sure if he needs to accompany me just yet either. She'll probably just bugger off after a little while. Let's see here. The base of the tower is unadorned. A ladder leads up but is broken. A rope hangs down within reach. Metal hook is tied to the rope hanging down from the clock mechanism far above. Can I climb it? Oh, bingo. You grab the hanging rope and haul yourself up. The nanny grabs onto the rope and tries to climb it, but falls down. She regains her feet, but just stands silently. You stand on a small platform behind the clock's mechanism. The back of the clock face takes up the west wall. With both hands, you turn the crank and wind the rope around the drum until you see the hook. The drum locks when the rope has been drawn entirely up. See if we can get this thing to work. Yeah, broken ladder. As soon as you pull the lever, the drum starts spinning uncontrollably. The rope gradually unwinds until it almost reaches the ground. Gears. Escapement? The escapement is part of the clock's mechanism. When a weight pulls and unwinds the rope around the drum, the escapement only allows it to drop in small increments. This causes the gears to turn slowly, moving the clock's hand at a steady pace to ensure accurate time. Currently, there isn't sufficient weight on the rope, so the clock is not working. Need to put some weight on the rope. Clock drum, yeah. The track from which the statue moves, I assume. And we can turn the dial, but What exactly the point of that is remains to be seen. Presumably the statue comes out at an appointed time, and that's when we need to turn the clock on. But we first need some weight. Yeah, could put the bucket on there, but there's a hole in it. So we need to fill it and patch it up first. There's Mr. Excitement. Oh! The shallow cave ends in an unnatural wall covered by carved dwarven symbols. A coiled snake studies you. Rocks. Oh, I can put those in the bucket. Evil red eyes glower at you. You can almost see its tiny brain trying to decide if you are food or a threat. Either way, it doesn't seem to like you very much. Attack! You lunge at the snake with the rusty shears. It deftly dodges your clumsy attack and counters with one of its own. Only a survival instinct born of a life in the labyrinth keeps you out of harm's way. You decide to treat the snake with a little more respect. Huh. Well, points to Haplo for not getting himself killed that time. But you remembered this... where's the book? Where did I put the book? Oh, right here. This book contained a certain poem entitled, Get That Snake. Grab the snake and hold him fast, don't let him go. Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow. Why don't you read from this?
Grab the snake and hold him fast. Don't let...
And you? Come along with me.
Would you accompany me?
The dead worker follows you into the room and hears the nanny reading, Get That Snake. An idea slowly forms when he sees a snake coiled in the middle of the cave. He shuffles over and grabs it. If a snake would look surprised, you'd swear it was stunned by this hulking corpse. It whips around and strikes him, but the worker doesn't seem to notice. The far wall of the cave is covered with 9 identical carved dwarven symbols. Am I not supposed to do something with that?
Let him go. Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow.
Oh, right, move forward. You walk toward the far wall of the cave. The snake writhes and spits as it tries to escape the dead worker's grasp, but its efforts are futile. The corpse's grip is too strong, and the dead nanny's constant repetition of the command to hold the snake keeps him from forgetting his task and wandering off. Soon you come upon the wall, a collection of 9 stone circles, each with an ornate arrow carved upon it. Oh boy. All the arrows need to point in the same direction. That's what the poem said. I assume that means they all need to point to the left. Or, since we want the door to move out of the way, it needs to go down. This is gonna be tricky. Not a big fan of these kinds of puzzles. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Solved. The stone symbols click into place and the wall slides away. Beyond, you see a dark tunnel. You steel yourself and walk in. These caves are ancient, carved long ago by the dwarves that lived here. Tunnels run off in all directions.
Go away! I talk to no one. I wait for my lord. He will be here soon to take me with him. Begone!
The decomposing dwarf squints his good eye at you for a few minutes and then shakes his head so violently that an earlobe falls off. So he won't talk to anyone but his lord. Hate that sound. Okay, now that we have a full pail of rocks, let's see if we can get this clock working. With both hands, you turn the crank and wind the rope around the drum until you see the hook. The drum locks when the rope has been drawn entirely up. The weight of the rocks in the bucket pulls the rope wrapped around the clock's drum. Slowly, it begins to unwind, turn the drum, and move the clock's gears. Let's see if we can figure this out. Oh, There we go. I'll take your scepter, thank you. Unlike the rest of the cast iron statue, the wedge-shaped headpiece is made of a different material. It looks as if it was carved from a black rock and set inside the metal tongs of the scepter. On the flat end is a single graven line. There's some way I can get that key off of this guy. Oh, wait a minute. I have a tea set. I could pretend to be the housekeeper. You hand the tea set to the dead butler. He accepts it gravely and looks over at the double doors. Then he just waits.
Now that you have the tea, what are you waiting for? Open the door and give it to your master.
Yes, I do have the tea, but I must wait until the appointed time until I open the door.
Oh, of course.
Otherwise, I might interrupt a vital experiment. That would be disastrous for Balthazar's research, and perhaps for myself as well.
What time is tea served?
The 4th hour.
You're as
Okay. Need to make the bell strike, the clock strike on the 4th hour. 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Allons-y. Oh, wait. Need to wind it. Yeah, okay. Wind the clock. Wait. Bong, 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 bong. Go down. There we go. This is a room of learning. A few books and papers are scattered on across every surface, but there's room for much more. Let's see what we can find. Furniture is either carved from rock or made from petrified weeds of some sort. Actually, the end result is rather attractive. The desk is the focus of the room, perhaps the place that most of the work was accomplished. The dead butler jerks into motion and shuffles out the double doors, closing them behind him. Well, the obvious attraction here would be this book. No title. Okay, so in this book we read that Balthazar, the wizard serving the king, was talking about necromancy and its possible ramifications, and how the dead obviously retain their knowledge from life and tend to fall into the same pattern over and over, as we already saw with the others. But he also talks about his research in other spells, and from that we have just learned the Unravel Illusion and Possession spells. Is that right? Sorry, Ward, not Unravel Illusion. He was talking about researching Unravel Illusion, but wasn't able to figure that out. And apparently, for some time now, all of the survivors of this town have moved to a different place near the castle of Clytus XIV, and talks about the Colossus which sustained the people of Abarrach, which is apparently failing somehow. Also, a new location appeared on our map after reading the book, so we should take the ship there and see what's what. U-ship, nice typo, is docked next to a dark stone palace. Lights in the windows indicate that it is inhabited. You take a few steps in, but the cave quickly branches into many tunnels. You become very confused, so you turn back.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
You walk purposefully towards the front entrance. The guards there stare at you in wonder, never having expected anyone to willingly walk into the palace. You explain that you're training the refugees from Telestia. The guard claims he doesn't know what you're talking about, but a knowing look to his companion leads you to believe otherwise. They inform you that all visitors must see the dynast. He makes his habit to greet them personally and hold a banquet in their honor. Again, the knowing look that passes between the guards is disquieting. With a grip that is more insistent than friendly, the first guard escorts you into the palace. You wait for about an hour in a bare room with a single door and no windows. Then the same guard takes you to a large room with a long table, piled with food and drink. At the head of the table, a man wearing rich robes and a crown of gold sits in a throne-like chair. A broad, welcoming smile on his face, he invites you to sit and partake of this meal set out in your honor. For lack of a better plan, you sit down.
Greetings, my friend. My name is Clytus the 14th. I am the dynast of Abarrach, and I rule here, but you probably know that. I'm always pleased to receive visitors. I get so very little. Please, tell me how things are in the outer reaches.
He seems friendly.
I'm not your friend, Clytus.
Such hostility. What have I done to deserve that? I say that I'm your friend. I merely wish to know how I can be of service to you. Are you a refugee? Are there others of you that require assistance?
I'm alone.
So, you don't represent anyone? You don't require assistance? Very well. You know, you look very different. Foreign. I've seen people from all over Abarrach, and you look like none of them. Who are you? Where are you from?
Oh, you know, I get around.
Where are my manners? You've probably been traveling for some time and are very hungry. I've been forcing you to converse while all of this food has lain here getting cold. You have my leave to partake. We will talk more later, I'm sure.
Clytus studies you for a moment in silence. A slight smile touches his lips, but leaves his eyes cold and piercing.
I'd like to ask you a few more questions first.
The time for talk is past. Now it's time to enjoy ourselves. Perhaps a toast would be appropriate. We must drink to our new relationship. I'm sure that we will grow to be exceptional friends.
The dynast produces a bottle of red wine from the bar behind him and pours a single glass. He orders a dead servant to take the glass from his hand and place it before you.
Please accept this special wine. I only bring it out for special occasions. I'm sure you'll find it to be unique.
He stares at you like a vulture, waiting for you to drink from the crystal glass. You notice that he is not holding a similar glass.
I think I'll save this for later if it's all the same.
You start to feel a little uncomfortable. You place the glass on the table.
It is not the same, my friend. You will drink that wine, and you will do it now. I've lost all patience with you.
He rises from the table and traces a spell in the air while you watch, dumbfounded. The blue rune shoots across the banquet table and explodes in your chest. You expect to feel some pain, but all you notice is an overwhelming hunger. You begin stuffing your mouth and pockets with food and drink. In spite of yourself, you snatch up the crystal goblet and drain the contents. Clytus smiles and sits back down, satisfied.
I know you, patron. Our books talk about your race. We believed them to be legends, but here we have proof. And if you are real, how many more of the other legends could be true? The other realms, the Death Gate.
Immediately, you start to feel dizzy. Something in the wine makes the room swirl around you. You drop to the chair hard.
Abarrach is dying. There's no way to save it, but you represent a way into new worlds, fresh lands to conquer. After you are dead, your corpse will tell me everything I wish to know. You will help me destroy your own people. Think on this as the poison eats through your body. Guards, remove this trash.
Soldiers grab you roughly from the chair and drag you down long, winding corridors, Clytus's laughter echoing in your ears. You quickly lose track of the route, your aching midsection demanding all of your attention. Soon you are thrown against the cold stone wall and shackles snap around your wrists. You slump to the floor as the guards stroll from the room, laughing at some private joke. You gather enough strength to look around the room. It's a stone cell. One wall has an open doorway, suggesting that manacles are what keep prisoners from escaping. A peg on the wall is home to a key on a ring, which looks like it might fit the lock on your shackles. It is, of course, out of reach. Another occupant of the cell is chained to the same wall that holds you prisoner. A thin crown along his brow attracts your attention. This Sartan boy is some kind of royalty. Why he is confined in a dungeon is beyond you. The paleness of his skin, the occasional grunt and spasm, all lead you to believe that he has had his share of Clytus's poison as well. Well, this is just great. Stuck in a cell, some mad Sartan, poised to invade the other realms. Yeah, this has all been a great day so far.
Hello, my friend. It looks like we're both in the same boat. So much for relying on the hospitality of strangers.
He ends his statement with a painful grimace and swift intake of breath.
Who are you?
My name is Edmund, and I'm the Crown Prince of Telestia. You couldn't tell I was royalty by the deluxe accommodations? Who are you?
My name is Haplo. I'd shake your hand, but I'm kind of tied up right now.
Very nice to meet you, Haplo. Any enemy of Clytus is a friend of mine.
You're a prince? Why were you put in the dungeon?
It's a long story. I come from Telestia, a city on the outer edges of Abarrach. A few years ago, our water supplies started to dry up. Balthazar, the royal necromancer, studied the problem and discovered that the Colossus was failing. The magic that sustained us for thousands of years was ebbing. We knew that our time was limited. We boarded everyone onto our ships and set sail for the Fire Sea. None of us had been there before, but Balthazar's ancient maps indicated a route. The trip was perilous. What's more, our ships hadn't been used for thousands of years, since we first came to Telestia. By the time we arrived, we had lost many of our people, including the king, my father. Therefore, I became my people's leader. Our intended destination was this palace. We had never seen the palace, or met the dynast that ruled us. Instead of arriving on his doorstep with a few thousand refugees, I decided to leave them in a warren of natural caves that we discovered and come here as an envoy. I thought that Clytus and I could speak and decide where my people could live. I arrived at the palace alone. He greeted me with open arms and invited me to a banquet. My people have been living on withered cairn grass for months, so I must admit that a banquet sounded appetizing. During the meal, he began to question me. The questions were innocuous at first, but became more probing and less veiled as Clytus continued. He asked military questions. What was the size of our forces and where were the troops bivouacked? Suddenly, he was sounding less like a benevolent leader and more like a king bent on eliminating any threats to his power or strains on his kingdom's food supply. Just as I stood up and announced that I wished to take my leave, a sharp pain doubled me over. Clytus simply looked over and smiled. He explained that the wine in my cup had been poisoned, and that after it killed me, he would drag the answers from my corpse. His guards brought me down here and locked me up. Now, I'm just waiting to die.
What exactly is this Colossus?
The Colossus is a stone spire infused with the magic of the ancients. It heats the world and slowly melts the celestial sea, a huge body of ice which feeds water throughout Abarrach. For some reason, it is failing. Our water supply has dried up. It doesn't make any sense. According to Balthazar's books, the Colossus was designed to last forever. He hoped to examine the Colossus and perhaps help to mend it. But now we'll never get the chance. By ignoring the problem and focusing on his own petty self-interests, Clytus is sealing our world's doom.
Where is the Colossus?
The Colossus is in Clytus's palace. It lies at the center of the ancient catacombs which run through the palace's foundation. The entrance is right across from this dungeon. Although Balthazar's books state this, they don't show the path through the catacombs. It's said that only the dynast knows the way.
Where are your people now?
They are safely tucked away in the secret caves along the edge of the Fire Sea. Clytus would give his eye teeth to know where. If somehow we managed to escape, we would still be stranded here with no way to cross the sea.
I've got a ship. If you show me where they are, I could transport us there.
The chances of escape are slim, but it's nice to know that we will have a way across the sea if we do.
For the first time since you met him, you see the prince brighten. A tiny ray of hope makes Edmund's eyes sparkle.
How long have you been here?
Not long. Less than a day, surely. I fear that I can't hold out much longer, though. The poison has ravaged my system. It appears, for some reason, to be working faster on you. Perhaps you received a larger dose. I doubt that you have more than a couple hours left.
Uh-oh.
Why didn't you send some nobody as your envoy? Seems like a dangerous job for a prince.
Everyone under my rule is important. There are no nobodies. I would risk myself before I would send someone else into danger.
How noble.
Can your people pose a threat to the dynast? They sound like a bunch of farmers.
We are mostly peaceful folk, but we have some reserves of dead fighting troops. That doesn't matter much, though. While Clytus holds the scepter of rulership, he could turn my army into dust before it even got into position.
Let's back up a step.
Suit yourself.
Isn't Telestia quite a ways from here?
Yes. It was a long, perilous journey which claimed my father. It's rather hard to accept that it was all for nothing.
Let's talk about something else.
All right. I don't have much else to do.
Why do I feel so sick?
That would be the poison. You've experienced Clytus's special welcome. It appears that he likes to invite strangers to a banquet, extract whatever information he can while pretending to be friendly, and then poison them. After they die, he resurrects the corpses to have them answer any remaining questions. Don't feel special. It happened to me as well.
What happens if he decides he wants to keep his victim alive, or someone accidentally drinks the poison? Is it too late, or is there an antidote?
There is an antidote, though it's unlikely we'll ever get our hands on it. I overheard some of the guards talking about it when they were planning to sneak wine from the banquet room's bar. The bar contains a variety of liqueurs in a wide array of colors. As you're aware, the poisoned wine is in a red bottle. The antidote is in a clear bottle. It's useless to even think about it, though. Even if we could get out of these chains, we'd never make it past all the guards.
Why did this Clytus lock us up?
To give the poison time to kill us. When we're dead, he'll resurrect us and get all the information he needs.
No way am I telling him anything, even after my death.
I'm afraid you'll have no choice. Part of the process of resurrection ensures that you'll serve the living to the full extent of your ability. You'll be glad to answer any questions he might have.
Do you know any way out of here?
In fact, I do. One of Balthazar's old books showed a secret passage out of the palace's foundation. If we were unfettered, I might be able to find that passage.
What's Clytus' story? How'd he get to be dynast?
That is a story. I only know the parts of the legend that Balthazar found in his reading. I guess we don't have anywhere to go, so I might as well tell you.
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead and tell me all that while we're lying here dying of poison.
According to the legend, our ancestors created this world and populated it with the weak races. Those races continually warred with each other, so our ancestors decided to sleep until everyone began to get along. Presumably, when that happened, our ancestors would wake and rejoin the new society. I guess they made Abarrach a little too hostile for the weaker races. The heat and impure air were killing more of them than their petty wars were. So they banded together much sooner than anticipated and roused our ancestors. They arose to discover that the world was killing the races instead of nurturing them. They also found that there was nothing that they could do to save them. It required all of their magic just to keep themselves alive. So they selected a handful of members from each race, placed them in the sleep chambers from which they had just risen, and waited for something called the interconnection. The books were a little unclear about this term. All they say is that it would make life much better on Abarrach. Clytus I was a member of the High Council at that time. One day, he arrived in the council's session with a powerful magic scepter. With it, he convinced the others to found a monarchy, with himself as the dynast, the ruler. The line has continued unbroken, as far as I can tell, to this day. Each new son takes up the scepter of rulership and becomes the new dynast. The man who tossed us in this dungeon is Clytus XIV. It's said that his scepter can turn a man to dust in seconds. No one wants to confront such raw magic, so he remains in power. Clytus I did do something right, though. He introduced us to necromancy. It's only by bringing back our dead that we have been able to stay alive. He even sacrificed his own personal servant as the first experiment.
What happened to the rest of the weaker races?
They died. There was no way to save them. It must have been horrible to watch them die, completely helpless to do anything.
Sounds like he's the product of a little too much inbreeding.
I know nothing about Clytus's specific lineage. But madness is a symptom of inbreeding, and he is certainly displaying that.
Does the council still exist?
No. Clytus I disbanded it when he created the monarchy. My ancestor was a member. This amulet I wear was a badge of his office. It's been in my family ever since, and I wear it proudly.
You really think necromancy is all that hot?
It's hard to question something that is such a fundamental part of your life. But Balthazar has raised some interesting points. He believes that we should be concentrating on rediscovering the old, lost magic arts. If we used our magic to make our lives better, we wouldn't need to bring back the dead. To be totally honest, seeing my father resurrected into a shadow of his former self was chilling. I don't look forward to dying myself, or to the inevitable result.
If Clytus' scepter can turn a man to dust, why does he bother with poison?
He still needs information from me. I assume the same is true for you. If he destroyed us, the information would be lost as well. If he kills us with poison, we are undamaged. Then he can resurrect us and demand the information he wants. Since the dead always serve the living, we'll have no choice but to tell him everything.
You mean that if Clytus didn't have this scepter, he wouldn't be in charge?
I would challenge him myself if I could count on a fair fight. My claim to the throne is as strong. My ancestor was also a member of the High Council. These are all pipe dreams, though. His scepter would make dust of them and me.
What happened to his personal servant?
Shortly after he rose to power, Clytus I sent him away. I believe he was banished to the ancestral home of the dwarves. In fact, it would have been in the caverns around Telestia. No one has explored that area in ages. I wonder if he's still there.
That was an intriguing story, but let's talk about something else.
All right. I don't have much else to do.
Why's that dog watching us? Is he just waiting for us to die so he can chew on our bones?
That's Clytus's personal hunting hound. The guards have orders to let him go anywhere he wants, so he has run of the palace. He's probably here because he's curious. They don't get many new visitors. I don't hold it against the hound that he belongs to Clytus. He seems nice enough. Until you came, he was my only company. He's a good listener.
That's an interesting medallion you're wearing. Could I have it?
I'm afraid not. It belonged to my ancestor and has been passed from father to son for centuries. I treasure it with my life.
Well, darn.
I'd like to rest now.
I understand. I'm feeling sick and tired myself. I'm sure it's the poison, not the conversation.
Well, I guess we better get to work on finding a way out of here before we keel over and die. Okay. You want some food, little guy? You toss a steak toward the dog. It lands about a foot away from you. The dog eyes it with disinterest. Evidently it has eaten recently. Okay. Wait, no. Clytus used that spell on us to make us hungry. So... You trace the rune structure in the air. It floats over to the curious dog who attempts to take a bite out of it. Instead, it sinks into his body. Immediately, the dog begins to salivate. It looks around for something to eat. Anything. The rare steak lying on the ground catches the hound's eye. It bounds over next to you and rips into the bloody meat as if its life depended on it. You feel a bit weaker. Your stomach turns in reaction to something you ate. And now it's close enough for me to do this. You trace the runes in the air and place your hand on the dog's scruffy fur. The magic swiftly takes hold. You stiffen as you feel your soul passing away. Everything spins and you begin to panic. It all goes dark. The darkness doesn't last long. You quickly come to your senses, but instantly discover that they aren't the same senses you've come to expect. Your vision now only perceives the world in shades of grey, although your hearing and sense of smell have been enhanced. You realize that you inhabit the body of the dog, and this dog has been trained to track game by smell. This must be the body of Clytus' royal hunting hound. Yay, I'm a dog. But I better do something before my original body dies, and I'll be stuck in like this forever. You pad up the stairs, passing a number of alert guards. They pat you on the head and smile, but allow you to pass. It seems that this dog has run of the palace. After a bit of exploration, which involves sticking your nose into a lot of empty rooms, you discover the original banquet room that you were escorted to. You've taken a good deal of time to locate it, however, and you're very worried about the condition of your body. A long table takes up most of the banquet hall, but there is also a wet bar with several bottles at the near end. Yes. Now, you remember that there were multicolored bottles, and only the clear bottle contained the antidote for the poison that we swallowed. But obviously, since we're colorblind, we can't see which bottle is clear. Let's see. As I recall, we need to grab the bottle through which we can see the lines on the tablecloth back there. And it looks like it's this one. And back in my original body, nuzzle your motionless body. The contact sparks the transference of your soul. The familiar dizziness overwhelms you, and when you recover, you're back in your human body. The dog looks at you with trusting, loyal eyes. Evidently, some bond was created when you passed your soul into its body. It sidles up to you, intent on accompanying you wherever you go. The poison feels like fire in your veins. It is slowly sapping your strength, slowing your heart. Yep, I got the clear bottle. You must be holding the bottle to drink it. Okay. You take a big swig from the clear bottle, grateful that you were able to tell it from the colored bottles when it didn't filter out any of the multicolored lines on the tablecloth. You feel the effects at once. The knots in your stomach loosen and the weight lifts from your limbs. You can feel that the liquid has cured you. Better give some to him, too. The prince guzzles the remainder of the clear liquid. The effect is immediate. The pain drains from his face and body. He hands the empty bottle back to you with a sigh of relief. And we have a doggy following us around. Yay. Now, what are we going to do about these manacles? No, can't pick the lock with the shear. Can he grab the key ring?
Yes, my friend?
Would you accompany me? I'm looking to get out of here.
Have you forgotten something?
He raises the lock shackles on his wrists and shakes them.
That's all.
Sure.
Okay, so he's not going to help me get the key. Vice is out of reach. I can't tell the dog to get the key for me either. Well, I could possess him again. Yoink. And we're free.
Yes, my...
Would you accompany me? I'm looking to get out of here.
Have you Sure.
Oh, he's still locked up. Yeah, whatever.
Yes.
Would you accompany?
I'd be happy to.
Finally. Grab the vice. That's probably going to come in handy somehow. Let's see if we can find our way out of here.
Behind a panel in that wall is a tunnel which leads directly to the docks. We should be able to sneak out to your ship and sail away before they know what's happening. When we're away, I'll direct you to the caves where my people hide. I must tell them about the situation here, and perhaps they can help you as well.
Cool. Well, we've made it out safely. But I suppose this is where we're going to leave off for now. And we'll continue next time as we explore more of Abarrach and hopefully find some way to relieve Clytus of that precious staff of his, and of course find our way to the piece of the world seal that we're looking for here. So, very glad you have been able to accompany me for this part of Deathgate. Hope to see you all next time once again. I've been Amayirot Akago, and till next time, bye-bye.